Hello, welcome to the latest episode of the Red and White Show. Joining me for this one, Rovers defender Joseph Oluwu and Club Doncaster media manager Liam Hoden. Joseph, welcome back to the show. How nice has it been for you to be back involved and back with the start of the weekend?
Very good. I think it's been an interesting journey, shall I say. It's been a few bumps along the way, but it's all part of the process, all part of getting back to things and coming back into it smoothly, and just to get a nice start on the weekend was good. Tough game to be involved in, but it was nice to see that I can get 90 minutes back into my legs and got a good result in the clean sheet to top it off as well, so that was really nice, yeah. Talk
us through that journey a little bit then, and just how challenging it's been from, what was it, the 1st of October, wasn't it, and the injury you suffered at Rochdale?
It's been an emotional roller coaster, is the best way to kind of describe it. It's been very interesting. I think initially when it all happened, it was very dramatic. I don't think any pictures have gone around, but for the people that saw the pictures, it was very dramatic. It was kind of a tough look, shall I say, and just something I've never experienced before. So just kind of getting my head over that initially and getting around all of that in the first place was something that was very different. And it was just one of those things where it's a new experience, something I've never come across before. Body was feeling great, but it's a cheekbone fracture and you can't see it. None of us can see it. I can't even try and gauge how I feel off of it. So it was just kind of being mindful of, don't rush myself back too much, and I think spend as much time back home with family and just taking each day as it came was really good.
Liam, just how much have Rovers benefited from Joseph's return to the team? He came on against Tranmere, helped them to a clean sheet there, started, as I said, at Swindon, and back-to-back clean sheets. I don't think that's any coincidence, is it?
Not at all. I think particularly on Saturdays you see the quality that Joseph's got, the composure that he shows at the back, and the quality that he's got on the ball as well, and it makes a massive difference to think, and particularly keeping that composure as a unit when you've got players at the back that are really comfortable in that way, as we had across the back three on Saturday. It does make a massive difference.
Just how excited were you, Joseph, to play in this style under Danny Schofield? It's easy to forget you'd not played under him. His appointment was a couple of weeks after you'd initially got injured at Rochdale, and watching on from afar, the centre-backs have really got a licence, haven't they, to not only defend but be proactive in starting attacks.
I think it was something I was excited to be a part of. I think I sat in every single meeting leading up to my first return, shall I say, and just kind of waiting for that opportunity to be back in and around the team, be back in that system, be understanding the way he wants us to play, having that freedom, like you said, to kind of go forward and express yourself, and also being a good defender as well. First and foremost, that's what I've got to do as my role, but also the way he wants us to play, wants us to dominate the ball, get on the ball, high energy, high tempo. So that means me playing on the ball more often, which it's nice, it suits me well. And I think just watching from the sidelines, I was just kind of fidgeting all the time, thinking I've got to get myself back in. But thankfully, a bit of patience worked, and glad to be back in with the boys.
Liam, when you look at the back three as it was at Swindon, you've got a little bit of everything in there, haven't you? You've got the pace, the technical ability to play out from the back, but also that willingness and enjoyment of defending in there.
Definitely, and you need all that. There can be a lot of emphasis on various aspects of defending, and a lot more nowadays on the ability on the ball, but you still need to take care of those, to use the word that Danny Schofield uses all the time, the fundamentals of defending, and that back three at the weekend had all that covered.
Time now then for the latest quickfire round with Kyle Hurst up next.
Hi, I'm Kyle Hurst, age 21, Milton Keynes, MK Dons for about 4 months, and then I signed for Blues, Man United, Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh, that's a good question. Obviously I've always admired Cristiano, but I quite like Riyad Mahrez, the way he plays. I see like myself a bit similar like that. I think, yeah, he's a good player that I admire. It's got to be the Crawley one. At home, yeah, when I run from the halfway line and slide it, yeah. Got a few, obviously Charlie, Chaz and Max Waltman. Nando's. Probably a Chinese with the missus. Trypophobia. It's like loads of little dots in a like confined space all together. Yeah, it's horrible. I just like, it makes me shiver and that. It's horrible. Gaming. Favourite sport? Badminton. The Last of Us. Really good series. Listened to a lot of Drake recently. Yeah. You People with Jonah Hill. Ooh, that's a good question. We'll go Tom Holland. Cyprus. I'd either go into gaming or barbering. Pool and darts. What would I take here? Probably Chaz's power, because I feel like that could help me in my game as well. More explosive. Yeah.
Joseph Hurstey says there his favourite goal of his career so far is the one against Crawley back in September. A lovely mazy run, and that afternoon was all started off with a good header at the back post from yourself. Exactly that, a good header from the back post by myself. You know, it's been a bit questionable. Some of the boys have questioned it whether it was an own goal or my goal, but it's gone down as my goal. I'm taking it, and like you said there, Hurstey picking that out as probably his favourite goal so far in his career is definitely something I'd agree with, because some run, goodness me with some run. It's almost as if he had afterburners on. He went, got ground, then just put the nitros in and he was off. Yeah, to have the composure to finish it off, you know, you got the momentum from beating 1, 2, 3 players. Easy then for a rush of blood to the head, isn't it, and the shot to end up off target. But to have the presence of mind to slow the game down and then finish it as he did, exactly that. Especially from a young player of his age, you know, he could have got excited and tried to do something out of the ordinary and try and smash it into the top corner and send it into row Z. But he had the calmness, like you said, to just slow it in nicely, and it was a very good finish. Liam, he's got 7 goals now this season. I mean, when he signed in the summer, he clearly had the potential, didn't he, to be good at this level and above. But 7 goals, I think he's admitted, is probably above his expectations for what he could achieve this term. I think probably if you go back to the start of the season and asked him, the amount of games that he's played is probably above his expectation, but he's fully justified his selection. Went through a period when probably not quite as effective as what he had been early on in the season, but my goodness, he's certainly got that back now. Last few games he's been very, very dangerous, caused opposition teams all manner of problems, and a fantastic finish again last week against Tranmere through the goalkeeper's legs, again showing that calmness with the ball at his feet. Now, you might have seen last week that the season tickets for the 23-24 campaign went on sale. Here's a reminder of the video we launched them with. Adult prices from £229 then, and 13 and unders in the family stand, just £20, which is 87p a game. When you're trying to inspire the next generation, it's a pretty good way from the club of going about just that. I think so as well, and you've got to take into account the times that we're living in at the moment. It's very, very tough, and that's a decision that a lot of people are going to have to make this summer of
can they afford to continue to follow the football club? Well, I think as a club we've made that a little bit easier. Certainly with that, if you've got a young family as well, £20 for a season, you're going to struggle to find much better than that across the EFL. Really, really good, pricing for me that they've done, and keeping prices the same as the start of this, same as the current season as well. I think that's brilliant from the club. One thing I must as well is point out the quality of the video to launch it. The man behind the camera, Darren Neagle, he's behind the camera week in, week out with a pre-match show, but he's put a fantastic video together. I think we're all proud for that one's gone out there and kind of showcasing the best of the club.
Yeah, certainly some brilliant work from Darren as always. And Joseph, when you're looking at that, still the possibility that Rovers, and a big possibility, Rovers could quite easily be playing in League One again next season. They're only just outside the playoff places, which will come on to the run of form a little bit later. But fans, if they want to take that opportunity, it's there for them to do so. Like
you said, if they want to come down and watch good football and potentially be playing up against big teams travelling down to come here to Eco Power, then it's a no-brainer almost to get the kids down here and let them watch a bit of good football, shall I say? So
James Maxwell racked up his 100th senior appearance in the win over Swindon last weekend, and the Scottish defender says it was a proud moment to reach that milestone. James, Barrow, the next test on Tuesday night, a chance to make it 3 wins in a row. The confidence must be flowing through the boys at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. A week's long time in football for one of those cliches. I think it's been important for the group not to be too low after obviously a couple defeats on the bounce, and it probably is the same for a couple wins. We can't start thinking about Barcelona. So I think to stay level-headed, whether it's we win or lose, but obviously feeling a bit better about ourselves after last week.
Shows how quickly the league table can change, doesn't it? I know a lot of boys will say they don't look at it, but 2 wins takes you from 15th to 9th and back to within a couple of points of the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's probably it's a boost. Looking at the table after games, you see you're a lot closer to it, even though points-wise it hasn't actually changed, dramatically. But yeah, I think it's probably a sign of the progress that we feel we've made, and it wasn't reflected probably a few weeks ago from where we were. But the improvement in performances has been backed up with a couple of results, thankfully.
How pleasing has it been, along with the results? You've got the 2 clean sheets as well. The back door's been shut, hasn't it, and enabled the lads at the top end of the pitch to go and win the game for you.
Yeah, it's been big for us. I think the underlying stats, even from when we probably leaked a few goals, was the kind of goals we're conceding were quite low quality chances, which was kind of frustrating because you get the scoreline looks 2-3 and you're like, I feel like I'm really being opened up too much. So thankfully that's kind of been reflected in the last 2 games where we've kept both teams that we played to really low quality chances, even though they had quite a few efforts from distance. But as I said, as a collective, we're all delighted with it, and it's the front lads as well as the boys at the back.
The last couple of wins have been pretty similar, haven't they, in terms of having to wait and bide your time to get that first goal, but then once one came along, the second one quickly followed. It shows that you've got that sort of tenacity about you to get straight back after the opposition. Yeah,
definitely. I think that both times after the first goal, it's been an important message from the team that we go again. We can't. It doesn't suit us just sitting back, even though sometimes when we're off the ball, we kind of don't go and immediately press teams. It's all about control for us, and being able to go and add the seconds, obviously it helps us manage the game and kind of give us a bit of comfort in having a 2-goal lead. So yeah, hopefully we can keep that up.
Saturday marked your 100th senior appearance of your career. Just how pleasing a milestone to reach is that for you?
Yeah, it was a big one for me personally when I first went out on loan when I was 18. It's something that I thought that I could achieve, and it was probably the biggest target in my head, and it's something that I've been working towards. And it's kind of the first thing that was set out for me before I went on loan was to be a pro you need to play 100 games. So for me it was a big milestone, and hopefully plenty more to come.
Still at a young age as well in football in terms, but do you feel that those 100 games have taught you a fair bit about yourself as well as the game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've not played 100 good games, so you definitely learn, especially early on, about how different the men's game is and what you need to do to compete in that, and how you bring your own quality. I feel like you find out how to kind of mould your game into the men's side of it, and it's the best experience. The best experience is doing it, and thankfully I've had good enough environments where I've been able to make mistakes and learn from it.
Liam, for James to have got to such a milestone at such a young age shows his willingness to go out and play at such a young age at Rangers as well. I think he mentioned in the interview that at 18 he started out on loan and already had that in his head. Listen, I want to get to 3 figures as quickly as possible.
That's what really made him such an attractive option in the summer for Rovers out there looking for somebody who can play on that left side, and to have someone so young and that has racked up that many appearances and really, really good experience in the Scottish lower league. That's absolutely massive, and I think we've seen. As a club, we've seen the benefits of that over these last few months. He looks assured. He doesn't look a young lad. You know, he's been out there and he's done it. And another one, like we touched upon Carl Hurst earlier on, he just seems to be getting better and better and stronger as each week goes by.
Joseph, I know you had a little bit of a spell in Ireland, didn't you, before really establishing yourself in England. James has had similar in Scotland to England. How did you find that sort of transition between the two leagues?
Came as a culture shock, if I'm being honest. I remember first day I flew out there training, you kind of grown up in the Arsenal setup, everything's done for you, it's brilliant, nice, gone from heated flooring, it's fantastic. Went out to Ireland, no fault of the club, showers were cold, so you've gone away from heated flooring to cold showers, and it was a big shock, culture shock that, you know what, this is what men's football's about. You've got players in there that are fighting for mortgages, they've got wives, kids to look after, and it kind of made me grow up quick and understand this is the reality of things, and if you want to do well and make way for yourself in the game, this is the amount of work you've got to put in, these are the sacrifices you have to take, and I think it kind of put me in a good position to then carry on.
Liam, do you feel that football's changing in that respect, that more young players now are going to find their feet, whether that's abroad or in the lower leagues? Because there was a time, weren't there, not too long back, where players who were in those under 23 positions were quite happy just to sit and not really go out and play much men's football because it was so comfortable at the parent clubs. Yeah,
I think you are seeing it, and it is the more examples that people get, you can use that inspiration and see players. James himself, you know, opting to walk away from Rangers in the search of regular first team football, and it's paid off for him. He's playing regularly week in, week out at men's level, and the more examples of that there'll be, the more players will be willing to take that opportunity.
On to Barrow we go then on Tuesday night. If Rovers were to beat them, it would equal their best run of the season so far. What do you put the last couple of games down to? It shows really in a nutshell, doesn't it, what League Two is like. Rovers, after the defeat at home against Hartlepool, were sort of licking their wounds a little bit and in for a bit of criticism. A week later they've climbed 6 places in the division and are back within a couple of points of the playoffs.
I think you have got to put a lot of it down to sticking to the principles. Danny Schofield's spoken an awful lot about that, and it shows it shows a decent amount of courage in a manager to come out and say things like that when you're not getting the results. I think it was clear in that run of defeats where the issues were, and they've been rectified, and also obviously one of those is finding the back of the net. And 2 goals in quick succession in the last 2 games will certainly help you along the way. But the structure of the team, the manner in which they've looked after the ball when they've had it, but also really defended doggedly and worked so hard off the ball, it's been really massive. And a lot of things just falling into place, everything coming together. And we've seen that. And I think that performance at Swindon on Saturday, right up there, were among the best all-round performances of the season.
Joseph, how much can you take from the Swindon win? Because I mean, even in the first half, Swindon probably had more of the ball, but didn't really have it in any areas where they were going to hurt you, did they? And it was Rovers actually winning the ball back and then becoming more threatening from the press. I
think it's just continuing to show that the work that's been going in on the training field is working, and it's all coming together well. And the way the manager and his coaching staff want to play is exactly how we want to play, and everyone's bought into it, and we're seeing the rewards of that as well. And I think it's a thing for us to continually understand that there's still room for improvement and that it's still a process. We're still going. There's a main goal at the end of it all to get promoted out of this league, but it's about what are the small steps along the way that we can do that will help us and push us further to that end goal.
Liam, Barrow doing it a little bit tough at the moment, just 1 win in 11 league games. They've dropped off a little bit. I think when they beat Rovers in September they moved up to 3rd. They're now a couple of points behind Rovers going into this one on Tuesday. A team there with clear vulnerabilities, whether that's confidence or anything on the pitch at the minute. So a good chance really for Rovers this one.
It is a good chance, but you've also got to have in mind what they did to Rovers that night at their place earlier on in the season. A very, very tough night for Rovers, probably one of the most disappointing evenings of the season in terms of the manner in which the game drifted away. But you know that just highlights the threat that Barrow have got, and you shouldn't underestimate them. But really, in terms of confidence, there should be one team heading into this one full of confidence and looking to make it 3 wins on the trot.
It's been a bit of a frustrating period one way or another, Joseph, because when Rovers have lost a game, they haven't really lost any ground on the teams above, but when they've won a game, it seems that the teams above in that little clutch of teams have won. So the gaps always remain pretty similar, hasn't it? Are you hoping on Tuesday night that you can get 3 points, and when you return back into the dressing room here, you see maybe 1 or 2 above you slip up?
Hopefully so. It'd be nice to see for sure, and I think the main thing is for us to keep our eyes on ourselves and keep focusing on ourselves and making sure we keep doing the job at hand that we need to do, and let the rest of the league worry about themselves. And if we continue to put in solid performances, keep picking up good points, I'm sure everything else will come together as we need it to.
As usual, Joseph, I won't put you under any pressure for a score prediction, but Liam, how do you see this one going on Tuesday?
I'm fancying a 3rd consecutive win, and I'm also fancying a 3rd consecutive 2-0 win.
Joseph, Liam, thank you for your company. Thank you at home as always for watching on as well. We'll see you down here on Tuesday night as Rovers go in search of 3 straight victories against Barrow.